Good morning, everyone. This is Jennifer Sanchez. You are with us Monday morning, May 17th, with the Wise Morning Coffee Chat Show. We are super excited to have this show this morning with one of our favorite people, but I'll let her introduce herself in a second. I am the founder of the Women's Institute of Self-Development and Efficacy, WISE for short, and we are excited here because this is a show all about conversation, inspiration, motivation, just women from the community, highlighting them and having awesome and fun conversations. So that's who I am, and I will give it to the co-host.
Hi, ladies. My name is Nara Diaz. I am a first-time mom and wife, and I am studying for my Salesforce certifications, and Jesus is King.
Yay! Go for it, Wanda. Who are you?
Nara introduce herself because I don't think I've ever heard first time mom and wife. So I'm probably a second time mom. I'm a second time mom and wife. I'm about a fourth time mom though, but
So, funny.
I'm Wanda Bee, and I am a program director at intellectualradio.com, and I am a media chick, as all you ladies are, founder creator of the Media Chicks, and I have a radio show, He Said, She Said, with Wanda Bee, Sundays at 2 p.m.
Yay, we love Wanda. Wanda, if it wasn't for Wanda, I wouldn't have been able to put that conference together in January. So,
oh, yes, you would have. If anybody
no.
knows Jennifer Sanchez, and I know there's tons of wise women out there, they are wise enough to know that Jennifer Sanchez gets it done.
Oh,
She
yeah.
has the best conferences. This woman is on it, like with a
Oh,
capital O and a capital I.
oh, thank you,
You're
Wanda.
the
But
best.
thank you. I appreciate that. And but I have the team.
You
that's what
do. I
you guys
love
are
that.
awesome. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, no, Wanda's awesome, guys. So you guys gotta check out her show. Her show's interesting. She has different topics also every Sunday. I've caught some of her shows. So her guests are also very fun. So I love watching your show too.
Thank you.
Awesome. So you know what time it is. I know it's Monday morning, but we got to go into coffee time. That's the whole point of the show. We have coffee or tea. We don't discriminate. We love tea drinkers too. So, Nara, go ahead and share with everyone what you're drinking this morning. Oh, I think we lost her for a second. She's frozen. Let's go with you then, Wanda. What are you drinking this morning?
You know what? I went and got my cute little coffee mug, but I was like, oh, she's kind of funky. But today I am drinking. I don't want to get a spot note, but from where you what is this slogan? America's Gotta Have It or something like that. Good old plain old original blend, because I tried the morning blend and that's a little too strong for the girl. So I had to just plain old Dunkin' Donuts. I'll say their name. But we have you have a beautiful coffee sponsor that we should be getting our coffee from instead of these people. So,
well, Dunkin', I guess they're bigger on the East Coast, right? Like from my understanding, like there's a Dunkin' at every corner, like in Boston. Like they're like McDonald's here.
Look at your little Encyclopedia Brown. I didn't know that.
The only reason why I know is because my sister-in-law was raised in Boston, and that's what she says. She's like, Dunkin' is the most popular, coffee maker. And, I like Dunkin' for donuts, but I feel like your coffees are a little too bland for me. But I
need the strong stuff.
I need the strong stuff, but I get it. America runs on Dunkin',
That's
I get
the
it.
line I'm looking for.
Nara's back. Nara, what are you drinking this morning?
I am drinking half of my Premier Protein shake and with some cold brew coffee and a shot of hazelnut sugar-free syrup and sweet foam.
Nice.
And awfully healthy this morning, Yara. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it sounds healthy. So, I guess, for those that are watching, make sure you share what you're drinking this morning. I'm also drinking coffee this morning. But my coffee today, I did I'm trying something different. It's part of this weight loss system that I'm testing this month, provided by one of our members, Yesenia. So it's a French mocha protein coffee. Totally
Ooh.
different. You guys know I only drink black coffee, but this weight loss program lets you drink stuff that they provide. So it's good. I could work with this, because I was like, yesterday I was at Starbucks and I was like, dang it, I can't drink no like flavorful, like I can't drink things outside of the diet, or only black coffee. So this gave me a little bit of my sugar, my sugar. It took care of my cravings, I guess. So
I
it's
need help
good.
with that. So I love that. I need to have to talk to Yesenia because I'm trying to get away from sugar and but still have my coffee. So I'm definitely gonna contact her for some of that.
Yeah, contact her. So um I want to make sure I thank our sponsors. I still love my sponsors. I can still drink black coffee. So it's cafeama.com. They're an organization out in Puerto Rico. And this organization, if you don't know by now, it is 100% of the sales of Cafe Ama are invested in entrepreneurship education programs for women and children out in Puerto Rico. So they have like a social initiative, and I'm gonna keep saying this. This is probably like the strongest coffee I've ever had in my life. So if y'all need strong coffee, get this coffee, because this is like hurricane coffee. I'm just gonna start calling it hurricane coffee because it is from the seeds left over from the hurricane, which is pretty cool. So wanted to share that with you ladies. But yeah, so that's fun. So if you guys are out there, let us know what you're drinking this morning. And then of course you can use our code WISE to get 20% discount from our coffee sponsor, which is awesome. So of course, let's go into our conversations. Do you guys want to talk about Chrissy first, or let's talk about the Olympics?
I'll go with the flow.
I think let's go Chrissy first.
Yeah, okay. Chrissy, is that how you say her name? Chrissy Teigen, right? Is that how we
Vegan,
say her
yeah.
name?
I think
She's
there's a T.
Yeah, Teigen, right? Teigen. Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone knows her. I know when I see her, I recognize her as John Legend's wife. Um,
Right.
that's how I know her. I know she's like a model too, right? She used to be like a Victoria's Secret model or something like that. I think. I might be wrong. I might be wrong.
Definitely was a model. I just don't know where. I'll look
Yeah.
it up while we go.
Yeah. She
She has
she
a big mom following, I think. She has some sort of like mom blog or lifestyle blog, perhaps.
She
yeah, I
also
think
had
she
a talk
does.
show.
Yeah, she was on like that with oh my God, Chatham Tatum, right? They used to do like a show together, or was he just a guest on the show? I don't know, but you guys know what I'm talking about.
We know who she is. She was
She's a
a
social
sports,
media influencer now.
yes, a
She
Sports
definitely.
Illustrated swimsuit issue in 2010. She's a model.
Okay, cool. So she's a model. So the thing about her was the way we were starting this conversation is she lost her Target sponsorship. So I guess she had products in Target, home good type products. Um and like cookware, I think it was. And but she said something back in 2011. Now the reason why we're bringing this up is because we got to be real careful what we say on social media, because in 2011 she said some pretty nasty things about people, kids, like teen moms, calling them, their HOEs. Like you can look it up. She says something about like you should just go kill yourself to like some other person. Like she said some really nasty things, and I was like, dang. Oh, Angel said this is what it was. She was on Lip Sync with LL Cool J. I love that show.
Oh, yeah, she
Yep,
was on that too.
that's what I remember her from that.
It's fun.
Thank you, Angel. So the reason why I brought it up is because she said some nasty things and lost her, you know, someone by the name of Candace Owens. She called her out on a lot of things that she said. I guess she went back and just started bringing up her old tweets, and start tagging hey, this is what you guys promote. This is who you have. These are the person's products you have. And 2 days later, after Candace Owens put her out there, she lost her Target connection. They parted ways. For her cookware, I think they still have some of her cookbooks there, but that just made me think like, dang, anything you say something wrong. You
Well,
say
I'm
something.
reading some of the things she said, like Courtney Stoughton. She's a reality TV star. They said that she would tell her just take a dirt nap, which is, I guess, basically saying
Go
kill
die.
yourself.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, she really, if you read some of the things she said, you're like, oh, you're not this little sweet homegirl making. I mean, you don't sound the sweet, innocent wife and mother that you really put out there. So some of this is really really kind of oh when you read it. So
Can you repeat it, Wanda? Is it something that's repeatable?
uh that's the F word. Let me find one that isn't.
She said
Um
that's the F word.
I guess I could say that, like, my Friday fantasy, you dirt nap baby, go to sleep forever. What drugs make you do that with your mouth? Asking for a friend who really wants to know how to look like an idiot. Thanks.
Yeah, she was a troll. Like she was a diehard troll. So yeah, that just shows you, like, I just thought, dang, you had a thing. And when I read Target, she said no, she made her public apology. And then Target dropped her 2 days later, but she said, oh no, we lost connection, or we severed our relationship since December. But I was like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
So what do you think? What if she said that she's gone through, like, if that she's gone through counseling since then, even though this, I don't know, too much to handle. That maybe she's gone through counseling and she's talked to a life coach, and now she doesn't think the same way she did 10 years ago. Do you think she deserves a second chance?
That's a good question, Wanda. That's a good question. You know, I don't know. I'll let Nara answer that one.
I think, like, as a person, she certainly does. But the thing about Target is that she's like getting paid for it. And you're a public figure. In 2011, she was still a public figure. So as a person, as a Christian, do I believe that she gets a second chance? Absolutely. I'm not the same person I was last year, let alone 2011, and hopefully none of us are. Hopefully we've all grown. So that's like a natural trajectory, and I'm really glad that she clarified that for herself. But she also gets paid to influence people on social media. This is very, like, the same subject. So on a social media platform, she once said this really hurtful things.
Yeah.
So it's not about, like, has she changed or whatever. Like, yeah, of course you get a second chance. Of course you get forgiven. Of course we wish you well. But, like, you're getting paid, and she's not getting paid like $10 an hour. She's
Right.
getting
I
paid a
agree
lot
with
of
you.
money. So, I mean, if Target was my company and I aligned myself with somebody like that, I would kick them to the curb too and say, God bless you, but business is business.
Yeah,
So about this
that's a
one
good
little
point.
girl, she on the Oscar night in 2013, so it's really not that long ago. She a little girl who was playing Annie was up for an award. She also was in other movies, and she's 9 years old, and she was trying to get people to pronounce her name correctly. I'm not even going to attempt it right now. And so Chrissy Teigen tweeted, "Is it okay to call a small child cocky? I am forced to call her by," and then she says her name because she's a child, right? Okay, fine.
Yeah, yeah. She just picked on anybody and everybody, right? She just was just going in on people. But this just brings there's always consequences to the things that you
That's
do,
the word.
no matter what. Like, yeah, you could be changed 10 years down the road, but something, as much as we love to, like, think, like, there will be some sort of consequence to your actions, whether it's immediate, whether it's did she it just caught up to her, 10 years later versus right there and then when it could have been nipped in the butt.
I
Sorry.
agree with
But
Yara.
there,
Target has a right not to put their money behind someone as a sponsor and represent their company who they're going against cyberbullying and all these different things, and you've shown the behavior. You should, like you said, pay. There's a consequence to every action, good or bad, and we may think we're above it now because I'm different, but no, we still may have to pay the consequences.
Yeah. What were we
I
gonna say
mean, and
now?
thank God that she did change that way. But then, like, with this whole cancel culture, I just feel like if we're going to cancel, like, it has to be an even playing field. And it's hard to say because it's not like it's the cancel culture is regulated. There's not a cancel culture board where they say we're going to vote out and cancel this person or whatever. But I just wish, like, America, like, if we're going to cancel this person and hold this person accountable, like, I would just like some fairness across the board, because I still think that, like, excuse me, I still think there's like a lot of racism and a lot of sexism that goes into this cancel culture. Because when I was thinking of this girl named Lori something, and she's this white blonde hair girl, and as you were saying the things, it actually reminded me of her. And she's like on like the Young Turks all the time, and they regularly destroy her and stuff, but she's very, very young, very conservative, and she says like off the wall stuff that's really hurtful. It's not like racism, it's not racist, but it's like it's hurtful because she's so just like kind of Chrissy, like, we'll do this and do that. Like, it's really hurtful stuff. And like, she's not getting canceled. So, like, and I know she
Mm.
doesn't have a sponsorship with Target, but it's just like the whole cancel culture, like, it should still, like, I want some fairness to it.
Oh, well, and I guess that makes sense. So you're saying this woman, maybe because she's so controversial, you know, the right companies are going to align with her. Let's think of like what's his
Yeah.
name, the famous guy that used to have this retarded show. Well, excuse me, forgive my French. It was not. What's his name?
Give us a little more information because there's a lot
Uh,
of retarded live shows.
he was famous. How do I not know this? He had the curly hair, long, skinny, tall guy.
Real Al. Oh, Tom Green.
No,
Howard
no.
Stern.
Howard Stern. Howard Stern. He just wrote a book about all his guests, maybe like 2 years ago. So Howard Stern, right? He had a really inappropriate show. Have you ever caught any of those shows when you were younger? You know.
I listened to him, I have to say.
I'm
So
so confused because I thought Howard Stern always talked about sex, but then when he gets his guests on, they like they talk about like current events almost, or whatever is going on with their guests. So I'm like confused as to what his show is.
well,
It's
I
no strict definition of it, but I will say that his guests would be sometimes you'd be uncomfortable because he would let someone, if they're uh had a handicap, they would tease them, and you feel like you're exploiting his handicap, and you could feel uncomfortable because they'll joke about that person. But he did have uh regular guests on regular personalities, TV personalities, things, and they would be more candid with him though. So it makes sense.
yeah.
It makes
Yeah, it was just really, it was just, I was like, what am I watching? And I would just flip the channel. But it's like little people, like he would have little people there, right? That's the correct term. But it was like a show. Like they were almost like, I felt like it was like a spectacle. Like these people are like, circus show
right.
people, right?
He exploited challenges to people. And he's on the radio, so he just put a visual component to his normal radio show. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was very, but I like Yara said though, this cancel culture is not fair. It's not even across the board. It's who speaks the loudest. Because if it wasn't for Candace Owens, we wouldn't even know about this. Now her intentions, and it's wrong. I think sometimes because of intention. If you're doing it just to get back at Chris
Mm,
Teigen and not really doing it for the best of the world, then your intention isn't even. That's what makes cancel culture kind of awkward anyway, because there isn't a real I don't know, rule to it. It's just who screams the loudest about someone, and now they're canceled.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I guess you do want it to be even. And my point with Howard Stern was just, he probably has sponsorships if there were companies that like his stuff. If they're like, oh, I like this weird stuff, let me sponsor him. But it makes sense. I guess Chrissy was trying to portray herself as like a mom blog, like wholesome. I don't know, so
Buy
it
my
makes sense.
recipes. I'm the best mom. I just want to represent mothers. And that's different than if I put myself out there and you decide to sponsor me based on that. Like you said, Howard Stern is just out there, but that's who he is. And they already know that when they sponsor you. Well, Target sponsored her based on who they thought she was,
Currently. Yeah.
that image. And now, if you're not that image, then that's not what we would have never put our money behind you if we knew that. So,
Ooh, that's deep. How would you come up? Go ahead, Nara.
I was just gonna say it goes to show like the difference, because when you're a mom, all of a sudden you really change like a lot. Like, since then we've seen her get married, become a wife, and become a mom. And so now she would, as a mom and as somebody's wife, like she would probably never say those things that she did as a catty little 20-something-year-old girl just trying to get a come up, just trying to get some attention, whether it's positive or negative. And now it's like, I'm a mom, I'm this, I'm that. Like, I don't want to be seen in that light, or I
Yeah,
don't want my kids to be seen in that light. So let me just rebrand myself. Let me reinvent myself. And all that stuff can be easily forgotten. But in social media, it can't.
That was 8 years ago. If it was like when she was a real, I don't know. I think sometimes when you are after publicity, and yes, she rebranded her, she got married and things, but sometimes who you are at the core. I said that stuff about going to a life coach and stuff. I don't know if she's actually done that. I think you are, if you're trying to sell something to us, you're giving us an image. We don't really know what Chrissy Teigen is like at home.
yeah. No, it's true. It's true. And I think, I mean, and Wanda, you could probably attest to it. Like, you gotta be careful with what you put out there. We all gotta be careful what we put out there, right? And then there's times that I want to say something on social media that I was like, maybe I shouldn't say this because this might bite me in the butt down the road. And my husband's always telling me, he's like, you can't be putting that stuff on social media. I was like, fine, like, because it's you gotta check yourself. You gotta check
All the
yourself.
time. It's a fact. If you're in this, I tell my husband will type something. He loves to debate people on Facebook. And I said, please take that down. And you have to be mindful that you're bigger. When you are a brand, you have to be mindful that you can tear everything around you down by just voicing your opinions like that on social media. And I have to tell him every time, I'm like, oh my goodness. I was like, please run your tweets and through me before you post them. My brand is tied to yours, and I need you not to say that. But are some people just not saying things? And that's what I'm saying about Chrissy. Can you not be saying things that you still believe, but you're just not putting them out there anymore for your brand's sake? And I think that's still, and Mary, I had to put on she says it's still inappropriate. And I think that's it, is that I think some people, even though they may not be putting it out there, is Chrissy Teigen would still be inappropriate if it wasn't for this new brand she has.
For sure, for sure. So let me make sure I say hi to the ladies that are jumping on this morning. We have Yamala. She said, good morning, ladies. We have Jennifer. She said, good morning with a son. Angel said she was on Lip Sync with LL Cool J. I love that show. That's probably the show where I'm thinking of Channing Tatum. Mary Yee.
He did Beyonce.
That's what it was. He did.
You guys remember it?
Yeah.
He wore like her same outfit, that black leather outfit that she did for Single Ladies when she was performing, not like on Oprah or whatever. Remember?
Didn't she jump out too? Didn't Beyonce jump out on that thing?
Oh yeah, yeah. Nobody ever forgets Beyonce.
No, no one's gonna forget. True.
Talk about always saying correct things. She's like the epitome of all, everything that Chrissy Teigen probably wants to be honest. Always saying the right things and doing as far as PR.
Yeah, she's
But
probably big on
Beyonce's
her
been
image.
trained since she was a young child from her parents. She's been a celebrity longer probably than Chrissy. She's been a celebrity since she was a little child, so she's trained
She's
and not.
trained.
Yes.
For sure, for sure. She's probably mortified with that elevator video. That was like the worst that I've ever seen out of that out of her.
You think that was staged? There's still some people that think that was staged.
I don't. It looked pretty real. Like her sister was really trying to like. She was really jumping at Jay-Z, so I don't
The
think
hits
that
were a
was
little
staged.
hard.
Yeah. So
But people haven't said that, Yar, that this whole thing was probably for that it sold them more records when they did it. But
The Lemonade record.
yeah, I
for
think it's
Lemonade.
the opposite, that it happened and let's make the best of it. Let's clean this up.
Yeah.
Scenario, because like you said, Jennifer, that you watched the scene and you felt that you like get her. I mean, you felt like the sister who's defending her sister.
Her sister. Yeah. Yeah. So
but the thing is, we're all women and we know how hard we hit. We know that was real. We know, like, we're like, whoa, that was real. That was real.
yeah, I don't know if, and I'll keep going to the comments in a second, but I don't know if Jay-Z, with his reputation and his right? Because rap is, that real masculine, like, I don't know if he'd allow himself to be put out there on social media, like in that video like that. Like, he has this image he has to protect as a rapper and one of the best rappers alive, right? So, like, would he allow himself to get demasculated like that and get punched in the face by Beyonce's sister? Like, I don't know.
He didn't put the video out there though. They did.
He did it.
I did someone else. If the hotel they were in owns the rights to that, what happened in their hotel, and they pulled the video, like, did Jay-Z go get the video and put it out? Did somebody else pull it out, sell it to TMZ, and now Jay-Z, everybody's seen it? Like, would he intentionally, like you say, maybe, I don't think he'd intentionally do it.
Yeah, I don't think so. But let me go back to the comments real quick. Sorry, Nara. I just want to make sure I address all the comments. Mary said they have gone back to people's teenage years. Oh, that's scary. Angel, she said, amen. Mary said it's still inappropriate. Angel said John Legend looks happy. Yeah, he's happy. Mary said, hey. And then Yamilet said, before I post, I always ask myself, is this going to bring joy, entertainment, education, or encouragement? If I say no to any of these, I don't post it. That's a good tip. That's a good tip. So what were you going to say, Nara? I know I cut you off there. I apologize.
Oh, no, you were talking about, like, he has to protect his image as a rapper, but also as a businessman. I think that's where the majority of his money comes from. And, a cheating scandal has done the same, has lost people money from sponsors and stuff. A cheating scandal, especially a male cheating, has cost, men business. Just kind of like the same way, bringing it back to the Chrissy Teigen thing, like how she lost this sponsorship or partnership. When a man cheats like that, he tends to lose those relationships and money as well.
But I think a woman, if she was caught, the other would still face a harder penalty than because that would be even like, oh my God, she cheated. She would face a harsher penalty than even a man, because some people he was just a man. Some men actually he would face some penalty, but some wouldn't see it as such a bad thing. I think a man actually has it easier. When it comes to cheating, because people sometimes expect it from a man.
Oh Lord. Yeah, that's true though. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. Let's go into our next topic, because it kind of flows nicely. It does flow nicely into what we're discussing, is the Olympics and BLM. So Nara, did you want to say some words on this topic?
So the Olympics came out and they said that they would not be allowing any Black Lives Matter, BLM, out of the athletes, whether it's like shirts or stances, and or just anything involving BLM, that, and they did that on the bias that it was political, and there are no politics that are supposed to happen with the Olympics. But
Mm,
the controversy is over whether Black Lives Matter is political or not. And also, um, I saw this on The View, and that's why I wanted to discuss this here. I thought it was a good topic because somebody on The View brought up the fact that the Olympics have actually hosted Olympics in cities that were known for genocide, and like they're not, they're sitting here and trying to be like, oh, we don't want to get involved in this stuff, but yet they'll do something hypocritical like host the Olympics in cities that haven't treated people correctly. And so,
yeah.
but the whole thing about Black Lives Matter is they're saying it's political. And I really don't think Black Lives is political. I think it's a social injustice that they're trying to, that organization is trying to bring awareness to and education. I don't think it's political at all. I think there are politicians that believe in Black Lives Matter and all lives matter, but I can't see that connection. I'm not sure how Black Lives Matter is political, but the Olympics are saying it is.
Yeah, I guess I know that the Olympics, the reason why, well, I know this part was that when the Olympics, no matter what, whether where the world is at in a war or in like peace, or they will host the Olympics no matter what. Like all the nations are supposed to put down their beliefs and put down whatever they feel. Like if there was a war going on, like like right now, Iran and Palestine, right? Like they're going through a thing right now. Everyone's supposed to put their stuff down, put it to a side, and still compete. That's the whole purpose of the Olympics. So I could see why they might say, let's not even talk about BLM. I could see if they're going from the perspective of, hey, we're just here to highlight countries and show the sport, and then that's why they go all over the world, right? Because they're not trying to like say, well, we can't go to Russia, or we can't go to here, we can't go to there. It's like, this is about sports and in a healthy sporting competition. That's my thinking. I don't know if I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
I understand it. Unfortunately, I do think it's turned into a political. It shouldn't. Black Lives Matter. That's a fact. I mean, they should matter, and they're not. So I get that, but unfortunately, our last administration made it seem as if you say that you're against, like it has some other meaning than other than that. But right now, I do think,
Mm,
why wouldn't you do Asian hate? I mean, like, why choose Black Lives Matter at this point? I don't think the Olympics is the point to bring out, to push one narrative, because there's so many people being disenfranchised and treated poorly at this point, that why just put Black Lives Matter out there? I don't get that right now, because right now Asians are facing. I mean, it's just leave it all off at this point. I think it doesn't fit. It shouldn't. I don't think it should be, actually. It's just, why bring that issue into, just do your Olympics like you've been doing it. Now, if let the people individually, I do think they should be allowed individually to wear it on their own, but why should it be attributed on all the sports? I don't think that should happen, but I do, because they ban you from personally doing it. Now that I think is wrong. Let
yeah, they
everybody
are.
do their own
That's I think that's the purpose, right? Like they're banning the athletes from promoting any of that.
Oh, okay. I thought it meant that they were going to be putting it on all their uniforms. Black Lives Matter could punish athletes for so. Oh, so they're not going to allow individuals to do it.
Yeah, they're not. If you have a personal belief, they're not allowing you to put it on your stuff. Like I know, like Starbucks, they got into some when BLM started, when all the protests and George Floyd. Like I remember they had some backlash because some of their workers wanted to put like something, or no, so their workers called them out because they're not taking initiative in promoting BLM. So then Starbucks made a change, and they did. Or even like the football player Kaepernick, right? Where
Right.
because of the kneeling for the flag, he got fired. But Nike partnered with him with one of his just do it campaigns. Um, so I guess, if it depends on the company, it depends on their initiatives. Like, the league, NFL, they didn't want Kaepernick anymore, but then you got Nike who said, okay, we're gonna get with you and we're gonna promote just do it. It went well with their slogan. So I don't know.
Oh, you know what? As I'm reading more about it, so you're right, it's the individual ones. But unfortunately, the term Black Lives Matter has taken on a different life. So they are allowing you to wear words that say peace, respect, solidarity, inclusion, equality. So they're allowing you, they just don't want that. And there is a band of people that are behind that own that Black Lives Matter. So I can kind of see they are allowing you to use more generic words on your t-shirt. So I don't know how I do feel people should be able to if you want to do it. But I actually don't ever wear Black Lives Matter things because honestly, in this when you do in the streets, you're actually faced with hate. People will come to you. They're mad. People get mad when you wear Black Lives Matter clothes. I've just seen it happen too many times that now I won't wear it out because
Really?
oh my gosh, when I'm in the stores, and so now we don't allow the station. I mean, we'll have it on the inside, but not outside because you're faced with hateful things happen to you with it on in the streets. So I
That's
don't know.
terrible. That's
I,
terrible.
I'm torn on this one. I thought they were trying to attach it to the Olympics altogether, but people should be allowed to wear because are you going to allow them to wear Asian hey but not Black Lives Matter? I don't if they say no slogans or I get that, but
I wonder if it's to protect the athletes. Now that you brought that point up, Wanda, like if you wear BLM stuff and you go out into the world and then you get all this hate directed towards you, right? And now we're going all over the world, right? Like these athletes are not just in, it's not only in the United States. They're going different countries. I wonder if it's to protect the athlete. I don't know. Now that you brought that up, I just thought of that.
that could be
So
because it doesn't have I'm sorry a net positive. It shouldn't be political. It should just be about the message. But now it's been convoluted that if I say this, I'm for this and this and this. It has a bigger meaning than what it originally, the original intention.
That makes sense.
And we have to keep in mind there were African American athletes that essentially got canceled. The historic of the runners when they put their fist up with their head down like this. I don't know if you guys have ever watched this documentary. There's a documentary that followed them through their life. And when they came, it was like a very historic moment, but their lives were essentially ruined by that. Like they couldn't get jobs anywhere. They struggled for the rest of their life for that. And um, you would want to think that something like that would be like, why does an employer matter?
When it's
But
I'm opposing racism. Like, why should you be mad that these people want to oppose racism, but that kind of thing matters?
so I wonder if maybe Jennifer, what you're saying has some truth to it because there have been athletes that have took on social injustices and used the Olympics as a platform to do so that have, really their lives have been really hard after that.
Wow. I didn't know that. I know the what you're talking about. I know the situation, but I didn't know the aftermath of what happened.
Yeah.
So I guess this is a good way to get into the next conversation. Um, George Floyd and his sentencing of go ahead, Nora. I know this is a topic that you put together too.
It's like the verdict of the George Floyd trial. Do we think that it's a sign of progress for the America, for our country?
Yeah, I'm gonna let Wanda start that conversation off.
I'm thinking, is it a sign of progress? In some ways, yes. In a small scale, that yes, we rarely see people face punishment for their crimes in these circumstances, but it hasn't changed the culture of the force yet. There needs to be uh, reform in the police, how they police people. There needs to be something needs to be done at, that needs to change, and I don't think just this George Floyd verdict fixes that. It's the first, maybe second time that we've seen someone actually face but he hasn't been sentenced yet. So honestly, I'm holding my verdict on this, because he may not get what we think. And so until I actually hear the verdict, am I going to say, oh, yes, we've moved forward? Because I think in the trial of the lady in Dallas, the police officer that shot the man sitting, Botham Jean, who was sitting in his house eating ice cream, and she just got 6 years. I think sometimes, or even here in Chicago with Laquan McDonald, his sentencing was somewhat light, that until I actually hear the sentencing, is he going to get then will I feel like where we're making a little progress. Yes, it's progress. I don't want to take that away, but do I feel like it hasn't altered the situation?
Yeah, like the kid that got killed over the Snickers bar. That what's his name? Zenneman? I forgot his name. The guy that killed the kid because he had a Snicker bar.
George Zimmerman, that one.
Zimmerman. Yeah, that one. He didn't even get anything. He got off free. So, I mean, that wasn't too long ago. I feel like that was only like 5 years ago.
And it
I
was the
might be wrong.
start of all this, making it more public and people showing the videos, was with, I should remember. Oh, forgive me for not remembering the child's name, because he's the start of this all. But but you're right. The
Trayvon?
sentence, Trayvon
Trayvon?
Martin. Yes, thank you, Nara. Trayvon Martin kind of started this off, where the videos, and we people this that he didn't get anything. Unfortunately, I want to see the sentencing. I do agree, it is some progress, but it's not fixing it.
Yeah, I think maybe even what we could say is like, the protests, what they did. I mean, the protest in itself brought a lot of exposure, right? They brought the thought of police reform. They've taken down all these statues that represented, from racist, or I don't know, how do you want to call it? Like there was this great post. It's a meme that circulates on social media. Like it was like, what did George Floyd's protest do? Like how actual changes have been made as a result of the protest. And there was like 20 different things. I want to look for it right now. But I think that in itself is it, maybe not like the verdict itself, but unfortunately we had to lose life, but it sparked so much outrage, and it was kind of like a perfect time bomb, right? Because it's in the middle of COVID that brought
Quarantine,
a
yeah. Mhm.
that brought awareness to these issues that no one was thinking about until it happened. So, if this unfortunate thing never happened, would we be taking down these statues? Would have we been, you know, bringing these conversations up? Would we be talking about, systemic racism? We wouldn't be talking about this stuff.
We're just talking. I don't unfortunately, the little boy still got shot by the police running.
True.
We are being killed at a black and brown people are being killed at a disproportionate rate. I don't care if they take down every statue. What's happening on the streets doesn't match. That doesn't help the actual people on a day-to-day basis. And so I don't want to be pessimistic about it. I just need to see Yes, things have been done, but some to me are just superficial things. I didn't even know the statues were there. Half of the statues they put.
Yeah, like I could, like right now I could look up maybe here, like leaders have resigned after complaints of racist company culture. So
Okay.
like we've had like people come down, like CrossFit CEO, different CEOs of different organizations, entertainment, certain things have been banned, like NASCAR bans Confederate flag, HBO removes Gone with the Wind, um NFL owns up. I didn't even know that they said that, there's just this article here where it talks about a couple of different things that have happened. Juneteenth is a paid holiday now. Walmart stopped selling guns and locking up black hair care products. This is just something that I'm kind of just running through real quick that I'll post. Confederate monuments have been removed. So I get Wanda, you're saying, it still hasn't changed anything because, black and brown lives, they're still being murdered, they're still dying. Um, it's unfortunate that we have to still deal with all this stuff, right? Even the Latino community, you rarely hear about, Latino kids getting killed, but they're killed as well. And did you know Native Americans, they actually they get killed at a faster rate than the black community. So, and a lot of people don't even know that, you know.
That's
Um, but but I guess it's just it's just something to bring awareness to. So I think, I mean, it's
yes, it's
unfortunate.
bringing it aware. I have to give that credit because at least they're noticing now. People are becoming more aware of what's coming out of their mouth, the images that they put out, and so for that, our children will absolutely benefit. That and that's probably more. They're not watching Gone with the Wind, but it's said at the same time, same time, their lives may be slightly different by not being faced with some of the things we were faced with, and they're definitely more socially aware of being racially conscious and the need for it. So for that, yes, I should absolutely commend that. Those things will change the future, uh, because now you won't be doing it either. Besides cleaning up the old stuff, it will make you
Mm,
not do it in the future. So that is an accomplishment.
yeah, and I know it's like one of those bittersweet things, right? Like it's still a work in progress.
Oh gosh, it needs a lot of work because there's still just as many people fighting that you shouldn't have done any of that. I mean, it's just, and it all just sounds pessimistic. But unfortunately, I don't. I think it's. Would like to see the reform in the police department and have a mental health uh, division that you call them out on some cases instead of coming out with guns. I think there should be. That's when I will stand up and cheer. But
New York is actually putting a pilot out. We were talking about that last week, Nara. I don't remember when we said this, but New York actually put a pilot out where now calls are being forwarded to mental health, like social workers, if they feel like it has any type of mental health concern, and so now there's social workers going out there with cops.
now that I
Um,
like.
so changes, maybe not as fast as we would like it to see. Um, and I guess with a society that has been built on these roots of systemic racism, for hundreds of years, right? For thousands of years, to reprogram everything, I would assume it takes time, you know.
Absolutely
Um,
takes time. We're talking about something that's been over 100 something years. It can't be fixed overnight. So yes, and so it's better to start somewhere that makes us feel at least you're aware that it's happening. So I agree.
yeah. This is a good conversation, though. We need to have these type of conversations, and bring awareness around this. So I guess that's since we're having this conversation, right? Like, black and brown conversations. What about in the White House, Nara? Nara, go ahead and share about the whole White House and black and brown conversations that you were saying earlier.
So growing up, when we had race conversations, it was always about like how not to be racist or be perceived as racist and like what's right and what's wrong. As a white person, and you know what are the standards for that, and how do you talk to somebody, and I have a couple nephews who are in their 20s, and they are they're mixed. They're half African American and half white, and it was really showing for a small town USA, which is the majority of cities in the USA. They tend to be smaller. Coming and going to places like McDonald's and seeing people's heads turn, and I was still young, but I didn't really understand, why that. I think I was kind of just like really like naive to it, or always thought it was like a positive spin on it, and we didn't have social media and stuff when I was growing up. So it's kind of like a little different. I just wonder that if it would have happened, if I was 15 all over again, would I have had a better comprehension of what was happening? But I really thought like, oh, they're looking at the kids because they're so beautiful and so cute, out of my own eyes, not thinking like something negative, because I didn't really know. If you don't grow up in a racist household, I don't think like what it is, I guess. So it's kind of like, it was, the thing that catches me off guard is like, I was always taught like these are the parameters of what racism is and isn't, and like you can't judge a person off their skin color. You always have to judge people off their character, or how they treat you, or if they do something that's right or wrong. But you can't, judge a person off their religion or their skin color, or like the clothes that they wear. Like you can't, there's correct terminology, like prejudge or something based off of like how they walk or where they work, or how much money they bring in. Like these are all things that you can't judge a person off of. But if a person is doing really wrong things, if they ask you to do wrong things with them, like that's fine. Like you can't participate in that, you can't be a part of that, and things like that. So it was like a lot of conversations about like how not to judge people, and how to judge people, like the right and wrongs of that.
Mm. Hearing you talk, I don't even think in school going to CPS we were ever taught racism in the sense of this is what you're supposed to say or not supposed to say. I think now teachers are way more proactive, even my own daughter's school. But when I was a kid, I don't think those conversations ever happened. And it was funny because now I watch movies differently. Like, have you ever watched a 90s movie and now you're like, were they trying to tell you this? So like, let's think of like Littlefoot. Oh, you guys remember A Land Before Time, right? That movie,
Yeah.
right? I was just watching it because we wanted our kids to see that movie because we enjoyed it as kids. And it was like, there was a part like, three horns never play with a long neck. Like they had these, you know, um, I guess they were bringing awareness around differences, but not saying like, hey, you're black, you're white, you're Hispanic, but they used this movie with dinosaurs where everyone was segregated and no one talked to each other, and then this thing happened where like the explosion or the separation of the continents, and now you have these little dinosaurs that have to work together, and they're all different type of breeds, right?
Cool.
So me sitting there watching this, I'm like, were they trying to teach us this from, like as
Right.
kids? Were they trying to instill these messages in us? Did it work? Like I'm sitting here now questioning how well did it work?
If you even saw the movie, that's a very good question, and you're right. And I think different. My Because I didn't have the conversation in our home, it left me, I think. Now I saw instances. I'm not going to say that I didn't see. My family's from the South, and my parents, my mother actually picked cotton. So this isn't she faced a lot of it. She was during the time of Martin Luther King Jr. So they know it in a different, but they felt they had brought us to Chicago and we were going to have this different life. They didn't discuss it like that. And I think it left me a little bit unprepared, a little bit not having the conversations when I was younger, that people wouldn't like me because of my color. I was not prepared when I went to high school and I was in the minority and how I was treated. I didn't understand it because I had teachers of other races, but they loved me. I mean, they just were nice people. They were, so that's what I expected and that's what I knew. And then to be faced with that in high school was a culture I didn't. And unfortunately, now that I think about it, I don't know if I prepared my children the same. My children come from a biracial household. My ex-husband, his father is white and his mother was black, and so my kids' grandparents were white, and were they are. And my daughter would go places with her grandfather, and they go, "That's not your grandfather." And she's like, "Yes, it is." And then my one daughter hated. She'd ask, "Can Grandpa not come to Hot Dog Day?" And I'm like, "Why don't you
Oh.
want Grandpa to come to Hot Dog Day?" And she just didn't want to talk about how kids. But my other daughter, like, "My grandpa's coming." I mean, she like defended the situation at all. But so then they saw the world too as this kumbaya, like. But now I will say my in-laws, they so my white father-in-law married a Jewish woman. They fight more for injustices than anybody in this world. He would tell me, "Do you want to go to this Black Lives Matter?" And I'm like, "Oh." I mean, he fought for the rights of people, so I have to put that out there. But I still don't think I prepared my daughter that yes, you have. She saw us all as one, and then when she the same thing started happening, that she would face racism in a way she wasn't expecting, because that's her family. She just didn't see that other people of other races won't see you when she that her family is made up. Her aunts are. I mean, she just didn't get it, and I didn't have that. I didn't have this sit down conversation with them, and I sometimes think, because it was like, do you want to shield them? Or I put them
Mm,
in schools that were by uh diverse on purpose, that they see diversity, that they'd understand
mm,
and love that we all can be one, we're all the same, we think the same. I mean, we just go through all the same things, but they still will face it. And I did not have that hard lesson, because I guess just I don't know why I
yeah.
didn't, but the conversations I don't happen in the home all the time the way they need to happen.
Hmm.
And so I don't know. I'm still confused by it.
Yeah, and I guess, when I've had friends tell me like they prepare their sons, right? Like they prepare their sons for like this can happen to you. And I'm like, dang, like that's scary. Like I don't have a son, right? But knowing the fact that black and brown kids are the ones that get picked on and are the ones that are going to get, the rates of incarceration a lot higher for black and brown. Like that's scary. Like
I've had to have that conversation with my sons. That's a fact. I mean, you just have to. Unfortunately, they have to be prepared on how to get, if they get pulled over, what to say, how to act, how to move their hands, how to you. Unfortunately, that's a now become a thing. And even with my son in high school, my oldest son, I've had to explain to him even the friendships he had and what could transpire. I mean that unfortunately, that's just a that's a right of, that's life now.
yeah, yeah, you have to have those conversations. Like you can't do fast movements. You can't be reaching for stuff when you're in the car, like because they're gonna think you're gonna try to grab a weapon or something like that. Like you just can't do stuff like that. And I'm sitting here as I'm listening to you guys, like, did I when was I a child that I know I experienced some sort of like either prejudice. I know that we experience like those subtle racist attacks, right? Like little things you see that you might not pay attention to unless you're looking for it. But like as a kid, I remember we would drive to Mexico, right? And my dad, he went all out. If you saw some pictures, he wear his cowboy hat, his cowboy boots, his cowboy belt. He was cowboyed out, and because he was preparing to go to Mexico. And we would take pit stops, and we went, I don't know what state this was. All I remember is we got out and we were eating at a restaurant, and it was a buffet. So I was like 7 or 8 trying to get some food. And I remember being ridiculed, or I remember hearing a white couple ridiculing us, like, ooh, Mexicanos, like making fun of the fact that we were there. I guess it was obviously all Caucasian, all in the country, and they never really seen us before. I'm assuming. I don't know. I was little, but I just remember how awful I felt for, like, and I didn't even want to tell my dad. Like, I just heard him. I don't even know if my dad or my mom were even paying attention, but I heard it. I kind of thought, oh, we're not really welcomed here. Is how I felt. And I went back to sit down and eat. But knowing how hot-headed my dad was, I just didn't want to say anything, and I just ate my food and kept it moving. But that was the first time I felt like, oh, I'm not American, I'm Mexicano, like that's when I felt that. I don't know.
Yara brought up a good point, or brought up a point that I thought about, that uh like when she said she faced that, or you look back and realize that was a moment. Like when you're young, I think it's almost, I think, uh, is it good that we didn't have the conversations, that we got to have this, be a child, or is it better that you do prepare them? What do you think?
I would think now, yes, prepare them, right? Because I think now, because it's all over BLM, BLM, and the riots and the protests, and I'm sure because they're little human beings, like they don't know what's going on. They see things going on, they hear the conversations, but it's probably terrifying to them. I can only imagine being a child during this time, COVID and protests and riots. Like, they might be confused, but they don't know how to say, hey, I'm confused. What the heck is going on in my life? So I think now
Yeah.
we have to.
I remember growing up when the Rodney King um
In LA.
beating or trial. I'm not sure when the riots actually happened. They didn't happen right away. I think they happened after the guilty verdict. I may be incorrect on that. But I remember watching the TV and asking my mom, like, is this happening? And she's like, no, it's not happening anywhere near us. It's like way in LA, and like telling me how far away that was, and just kind of reassuring me that we weren't, like, this stuff wasn't happening around us. But also at that age, I don't understand how far away LA was from Wisconsin or any of that. But, just having her say that it's like really far away and things like that, to try to make sure that I felt safe from watching it on TV, that was just like, and I really didn't realize, why it was happening either. I don't think I was probably maybe like 6 or 7. I don't think I could have comprehended, besides my mom saying, somebody treated somebody really bad, and then, how do you explain injustice to really young kids? You don't, use really big terminology and stuff. But I didn't, you have such purity when you're really young. You have such purity, and you have such a one way of looking at things, because you haven't been exposed to everybody's opinion. It's like, so if you're kind of taught one way, then that's how you're going to view the world at a
Yeah.
younger age.
I didn't feel prepared. I don't know how it could have been different. I sometimes think maybe if I went to a different high school, but my grammar school was so kumbaya of all. It was just, I was not ready for that hit of "you won't like me" and I did nothing to you. I just wasn't ready.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And I don't know what my parents could have done different. But
Yeah. Let me show these comments here. I agree with Jen. There's a lot going on that they are all seeing on social media. Our children need to understand what and why things are happening. I there's same thing. Okay. And then I see Angel. She said they probably don't want to get the controversy that the NFL got. I think she's talking about our
BLM.
earlier conversation. And then men always have it easier for everything, unfortunately. So that, I mean, I know this is one of those a tough topic, right? And I think these are those conversations that people get uncomfortable with, to but you have to have them to be able to understand everyone's perspective, you
What
know?
I enjoy that you're doing this is that we all come from different backgrounds, and so sometimes having that perspective come and we do have these conversations, we find out we're more alike because even if we had someone white, she said, "Well, I didn't know there was race." I mean, we could have all different experiences, and that helps us understand each other. And it really does help to talk about it, as uncomfortable as it is. It makes the world better, and I think I applaud you for having the conversation and not straying away because it's uncomfortable. People they stray from it because it's not a comfortable conversation to have. It can cause everyone can't discuss it from a healthy manner.
Yeah.
So I applaud you for even opening this topic up.
Oh, thank you, Wanda. And Nora, actually, she's the one that wanted to discuss these topics. Then that's why I said, yeah, let's talk about this. I'm always up for uncomfortable conversations. And I think sometimes even on my posts, I have to like relax. Like you can't go all in on people. You can't, you gotta be open-minded. You gotta receive everybody's opinion. Everyone has different opinions, and I'm cool with all opinions. It doesn't, it is what it is. But Wanda, do you have anything? I know we got to wrap up. Do you have anything that you wanted to share or promote while we end this today's segment? Anything you got? Any promos you got?
I just on Facebook, if you guys want to join the Media Chicks and promote anything you guys have, I'd love to. I'm just a way for us all to support each other, watch our shows, or support our businesses. That's any way we can do. Just adding another channel for people to reach out to people. So I welcome everybody listening or viewing this at any point in time. If you want to join this Media Chicks, this is the logo on Facebook. Look for it and join it and promote, because I really do want to promote each other. I'm all for women helping each other and supporting each other. So please do it, and share as much as you like. Post whatever you like there. The more, the merrier.
I muted myself. Thank you so much, Wanda, for that. So definitely check out Media Chicks. Wanda is great about sharing stuff in that group. I've seen her do it. And so definitely follow her and intellectualradio.com. So thank you so much, Wanda, for being on the show. Nara, do you have any final words while we wrap up?
Just that it's sad to see a lot of things that should have never have happened, like as far as like the statutes and stuff. Like when you guys were talking, I was thinking, I was like, why are we celebrating like taking down a statue of a person that should have never been up? I don't know. But I guess that stuff, if that stuff was done, it is rectifying to see it being took down or things like that. And I guess it is a little bit of progress. Like I was like gonna be like no, because like the person killed a man, like but I guess, after listening to you ladies, I guess there is progress happening, and unfortunately we can't go back and take things out of history, but we can always like rectify it. So I guess seeing those things does make me feel a little bit better, and I guess I wasn't giving it the credit that it deserved, because in my mind it's like, why are we celebrating something that should have never have happened? But so I just appreciate those perspectives from you ladies, and I enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. No. Thank you for
Thank you,
bringing
Nara,
these
for bringing those
topics.
topics. I was thinking, wow, you brought the heavy hitters. I mean, just very good, very. I'm so impressed, Nara, that you even come up with. I loved it, and it's a discussion I don't normally have all the time. So I appreciate this forum. I really do.
Oh, thank you.
I
And Wanda,
learned
you're
something.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
I, th-
thank
I
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wanda, I think, you are someone that's I love conversating with you because you think about it, you analyze. I know you're really analytical and you sit there and you process things, and I enjoy having conversations with you, Wanda, because you do think and you do you're very uh articulate with your words. How about that? So I think it helps us also. It's real, and then it's comforting. You're not, you don't have an aggressive approach. So this is a safe space for us to have these conversations.
You created the safe space, so that's the thing. I think it's
Yeah.
easier to relax and have the conversations with people when you know you're in a safe space, because and so I applaud you. That's why I was saying both you guys for this, because you you welcome it and you feel that here.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you, Wanda, for jumping on today and being here with us this morning for Monday. And I appreciate you, Nara, also for bringing these topics and having this candid conversation. That's a rough. It's not an easy conversation, but we made it happen.
Well, you ladies were great. When you're in the company of greatness, it's hard not to have great conversations.
I would
Oh,
love for you to guys to do this on my platform. I would love for us to have the same topics, and our same topics, and bring it onto intellectual radio and see. I may have to prepare you. I don't know if we're gonna get it. They're not.
hey,
They may come back a little bit harder than your are very loving. They've
I'm
been through the
okay.
wise women. They're wise women. These our people watching may not be wise. I'm gonna let
You're so funny. Hey, I'm always up for a challenge for sure. And I had this great conversation with another woman who I love, and she's also a professional woman, African American. And I think once we had a conversation, she didn't realize that the Latino community is also up against a lot of setbacks. And until I brought this to her awareness, she was like, "Oh my God, I didn't realize that." The like I keep saying, like, if it wasn't for Martin Luther King, we wouldn't our race wouldn't benefit from what happened as well, because we were also unfortunately dealing with the no color signs as well in the 60s, right? It was like you couldn't drink out of this fountain. Like, people don't
you
realize
couldn't
the
either.
Latino history. No,
We
no.
don't know that. I swear I didn't know that. So I would love to hear that, because I didn't realize when it was no color, it was all colors, not just
Yeah.
black.
Yeah, it was all
Wow.
colors, but we were like in the Southwest, right? We were like over there in California and Arizona and all of that.
You were in Chicago too. Chicago has a deep history in Latinos.
They do. But like that's why you had the Pachuca movement. And people don't realize that was like the Black Panther movement. Like,
Oh, really?
that was how they combated racism and KKK and all that stuff. They have their Latinos have their own history of how they've been. And what I learned and when I was in UIC was Latinos learned from the African American community how to group, how to protest, how to organize by watching the African American community.
Well, I'm sure the Latina community has that. We need to learn now. It needs to flip. We need to watch you guys, because you guys have it down. Uh, I can watch anything you go. I'm impressed every single time. The solidarity and the unity to get it done for your culture is absolutely impressive all the time. No, we need to be now. It needs to flip. You guys learned it and took off with it.
And too, it's like if you talk to Indians, like people from India, if you talk from people from Africa, if you talk to people about like I had roommates that were from China, you know, and stuff, and like I've always been multi-diverse, but if you talk to them about race, they, when they say then they come from their country, they can, America is very about the white and the black, and they forget about the brown a lot, but a lot of the different colors in the brown area of that, like the Asian Pacificans and Chinese and all that, and the Indians, they can relate to it because from their country, it's class. They get, so it just goes down to like judgment so much based off of it. It's kind of like racist people just like try to grab at anything they can grab, whether it's class system or whatever, it's the color or like whatever. Let's judge people on something they don't have a choice in. It's not character. It's not if they're good or bad. It's, you know, let's judge them by where they live or how they look or how they're born. And it's just like,
Yeah.
people jump so far. But also, like, when I've spoken to the people that I've spoken to, they kind of feel forgotten in America because a lot of the narrative in America is only about the white and the black, and not all the different colors in between.
I think that's why I see why the Black Lives Matter shouldn't be as prominent, because everybody, I mean, this, like you say, it's not black and white. It's like so many people are dealing with issues in America. But I would love to hear more of those stories, because I really think then we can understand each other better, that we don't feel like you're against me and I'm against you. No, we have a system that's in play that's hurting so many people. I love having this conversation because I love learning, because of some of the things you just said, Jennifer. I really didn't think of it that way. You think of it from your own little lens and your own little circle. And I never thought that when it said color, there were all shades. It wasn't just black. And I never thought of it that way. So that's a very learning conversation to have. And at this age that I can still learn that thing is so incredible, that I can be this age and still not know that. And we have to start having these conversations with our children so they don't grow up not knowing.
Yeah. This is a great conversation. Thank you so much, ladies, for jumping on, and Nara sharing. Even Mary, Mary added the Asians also had their time. Yeah, she said they had the time when they were caged.
Yeah.
So
Really?
yeah,
in World War, you know, when the bombings happened, remember
Pearl
here?
Harbor.
Thank you. Yeah, we put like the Chinese, like the Asians, we put them in cages, especially out west.
Yeah, it's terrible. Well, that's another conversation for a whole nother day. But thank you so much, ladies, again for jumping on and having this conversation with me, and everyone watching. We appreciate you, and you guys have a spectacular rest of your week.
Thank you. You too, ladies.
Thank you, ladies.
God bless.